And that's the biggest takeaway from this episode is everything's an opportunity. Life is full of crashing, right?
Right.
And ups and downs.
Physical fitness is paramount. Being able to just function, just having faith in yourself and your abilities. You are good enough the way that you are.
What's going on, everybody? This is Coach Vinny, and I am excited to bring to you yet another episode of the Students of Strength podcast. This is a special episode, just like all of them are. This is episode 9, and next to me, I've got a really cool guy, a very close friend of mine, someone who I got to grow up with here in this town, and that's really what this podcast is about, is highlighting this amazing town that we get to call Tracy, California. Small town, you know, that water tower stands true and tall and very proud. And my guest today has all of those attributes about him. Local guy, you know, born and raised in these parts, roots deeper than I could ever build or put together. I would love to welcome to today's podcast, very special guest. This is Greg Yerian.
Well, Vinny, I really appreciate that intro. Man, I wasn't prepared for that one. It's great to be here, and thank you for the invite.
You're welcome.
What's better than getting to talk about Bulldog football?
Yeah, Bulldog football, sports in general, talking about Greg's journey. He's got a really amazing story. Just been around sports in this town since he was a little kid, whether it's football, wrestling. You can see him decked out in his Bulldog gear. I mean, this guy bleeds green and gold. You know, that's just something that's so cool about this town, the tradition, the Friday nights. I mean, you know, Greg and I are long out of high school now, but we're still very involved with our town and the community. So Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, where you were born, obviously, and, you know, let's start from the beginning.
Let's start from the very beginning, okay. Well, I was born here in Tracy, born and raised. I went to school at St. Paul's Preschool. Then after that, I attended St. Bernard's. After that, went on to Tracy High School and took the scenic route through Delta College, and ultimately ended up graduating from Fresno State.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, big shout out to the JUCO path. Same path I went coming out of Tracy High School more than 20 years ago. You know, I was
are we that old?
We are that old. I'm going to be 40 in about 5 months now. I love the JUCO route. I was a Delta kid myself, probably took a little longer than 2 years. You know, you went the Fresno State route. I went the Sac State route. You know, I think the cool thing is a lot of kids today, you know, it's really cool the amount of kids that want to go to Sac State now. You know, it used to be a school that no one wanted to go to. It was either Fresno State or Cal Poly if you were growing up in this town, you know, especially going the agriculture route.
Yeah.
You know, that's big in this town. You know, so it's cool to see schools getting bigger, you know, and expanding, but we can touch on college life a little bit later. You know, you've went to Tracy High, you went to all the cool schools here in town. You know, everybody knows St. Bernard's, you know, that's been our spot, you know, that's our church. That's, you know, it has definitely shaped a lot of youth kids in this town, you know, but your story is definitely a little more unique. You know, you've dealt with some, I wouldn't even call them setbacks. It's just the card you were dealt, right? We're talking about cerebral palsy, right?
Yeah.
CP. Greg's a huge advocate for that. He's lived with it his whole life. He got through high school, college, played his sports. Yes, moms and dads this guy with CP made it through 4 years of high school sports, wrestling, football. So, hey, if you think you have these things and it's gonna hold you back, I mean, this guy is living proof. So let's talk about the early days, navigating sports. How did your mom and dad feel about this? I mean, I've heard your story numerous times, so let's share this with the world.
Sure. Well, my dad actually played on the first Tracy Raiders football team in town.
Okay.
I think it was 1974, 73, 74.
My parents were in high school.
Yeah. So, my mom, her family, they were very into agriculture and 4-H and FFA and stuff. So when I came around and I wanted to get involved in sports, my dad, having played both those sports at a high level, knew the risk that were involved, and he didn't, as any good parent would do, they didn't want to put me, their child, at risk of being severely injured or even possibly worse, killed.
Yeah, put that on another kid and like, oh,
Yeah.
I hurt Greg. Like,
Right.
I'm that guy.
Right. So, it was, it took some convincing of my parents to allow me to even play sports. The very, very first sport I ever played in an organized environment was CYO basketball in 4th grade, and it fed the desire to go on to bigger and better things, And
I don't think anyone's ever treated you differently. Like, no one's ever treated Greg like there's something wrong with him. You can't hit Greg. Like, Greg has always been the guy, like, no, hit me. Like,
Right.
You need me to go, you need a rest, you want me to be your guy, right?
Oh, I love contact.
Yeah,
Life's a contact sport.
Yeah, you've never shied away from it. And I think, like you said, like, your parents were always supportive of it. Like, they never treated you like a broken kid, a kid that has this thing that's wrong with him, but it's like, you're still a functioning human being, right? And to treat you any less probably would have made high school that much worse for you, right? And I mean, you made lifelong friends through all those sports at Tracy High. And I mean, now all those years later, you're still so involved, whether it's with the Lions Club and just your family business and all of those things. Like, you're still heavily invested in this town that
absolutely
never turned its back on you, right?
Right.
And I mean, you get into high school, right? Your sports were wrestling and football.
Yes.
Right? So how does a kid with cerebral palsy survive wrestling practice, especially a Tracy High wrestling practice?
Well, wrestling is a completely different sport all on its own.
It is the sport.
It is the sport of sports. So anybody that wants to get in shape or improve your endurance, your stamina, all those things, wrestling will do it for you unquestionably. And I'll tell you this too, being that I've been involved with the obviously Tracy High Wrestling, as well as the Tracy Wrestling Club, girls wrestling is growing.
Oh, 100%.
By leaps and bounds. The first year I went to the Reno Worlds tournament back in 2022. The girls bracket alone had 900 participants from all over the world. And it was insane.
I mean, it's opportunities. I mean, now you're like with wrestling, the growth of flag football, right?
Yeah.
You know, even just other sports like softball has gotten so much bigger just from travel sports. I think there's less kids playing high school sports now probably than ever, because now you got club play, you got 7-on-7s with football. I mean, when we were kids, it was AAU, right? And you had to be the best of the best to make those teams. Now, everybody's aunt and uncle has a travel ball team, right? And if you didn't get the right playing time on this team, I can just jump ship and go to the next team, right? I mean, you've lived with CP and you didn't get much playing time, right? But you never strayed away from it, right? I sat the bench my entire high school career, but I never quit, never walked away from it, never walked away from my teammates, because you're there for more than just the wins and losses, right? You're there for what it's doing for you, like
the camaraderie that you build, and the stories that you can tell.
Absolutely, like
today.
Yep. And I mean, even last year was my first year working with the football team. And I still remember your speech that you came in and gave during the team dinner, and we had that kid on the football team last year with cerebral palsy. And it's like, hey, this guy is just like me. For 4 years, when we first opened up the gym, I had a really nice kid who worked out here. He went to Delta Charter. His name's Joe. Cerebral palsy, just like you. It affected more of his arm and everything too. One side didn't really work for him all that well, kind of like how you have your leg. And Joe played 4 years of football at Delta Charter. It was always, he's got this wrong with him. He can't possibly play football. I'm like, this kid's at the gym 5 days a week. He's at football practice. I think because of what you're dealing with probably makes you that much more violent out there, because you're going to give it your all, right? You're going to go 110%. And I think it made you a great teammate and just a good person, because you and I are very alike. We're the loudest guy on the sidelines, right? If I'm not going to play, you're going to hear me. I'm going to be a part of this somehow. It's like, don't be a piece of shit teammate, right? That's a cancer at the high school level, and it's something that I see firsthand, whether it's with kids or with parents, right? It's like things have changed, right? Like I don't ever remember moms and dads screaming at coaches and yelling at officials or just getting in the way, right? I think your parents were parents, right? They weren't coaches. They weren't athletic directors. They were your mom and dad, and that was it. That was it. We'll let Greg figure out his life, and Greg has great friends. You grew up around all your family members. I get to coach side by side with Jake, right? Yeah. And it's even with Jake, like the roots that you guys have. Everyone's played here, everyone's played there. Everybody's got a story to tell. And I think your story is just great, because there's so many kids out there, even adults, that have what you have, maybe worse cases, maybe there's something else, but it's like, I can't work out, I can't do this. I'm like, in January, our gym is going to become a fully 100% adaptive fitness facility. So we're going to be bringing in a lot more people dealing with CP, autism, any type of special needs, amputees, giving veterans. It's everybody should have some sort of safe space. You and I always had a weight room at Tracy High. We got to go to football camp together. Football camp doesn't even exist anymore. Right.
The memories we made in the dorm rooms. When we went for 2 years, you and I, Vinny, we went to Fresno State football camp for 2 years, and the memories that were made in the dorm rooms, we will never forget.
Yep. I can remember those days. I can remember, Jason Sains, and those were just fun times.
Do you remember the old icy hot and the jock strap?
Yep, the icy hot and the jock strap. I remember that next day at practice, who's going to get in trouble and who was rolling.
Anthony Coulter did gator rolls
doing
for
those gator
2
rolls
hours.
up that hill in the back. No one even did. I think they forgot about him at some point, and he was still doing his rolls. It was just, kids do stupid things, but I think, a core memory, especially from football camp, is, the touchdown that we had. You got to come in and play quarterback. You made that nice pitch. You're on the ground. I'm like, we scored. Where's Greg? Greg fell. But it's like, you got to go in and experience that, going to wrestling practice, getting a Letterman jacket. Most kids would be like, oh, you've got kids that sprain their ankle and they quit a sport.
Right.
Like, you literally have something wrong with your body.
Right.
You still wake up every day, you brush your teeth, you put your shoes and your pants on.
One leg at a time.
And I mean, other than, you not being able to drive, right?
Yeah.
It's, who cares?
Right.
You got amazing people that take you from point A to point B. I remember your scooter days.
Yeah, the old Segway.
The Segway. I remember when you crashed your Segway.
Yeah.
Life is full of crashing, right?
Right.
And ups and downs. I mean, we went 2-8 last year as a football program and 0-5. And just in a year's time, these boys are back to a 500 football team, 3-2 in league, and they earned every bit of their playoff spot, right?
They did.
It's a core memory that our seniors, right? Because it was last year put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I mean, you're out there on Friday nights, in the snack bar, and you're getting to see firsthand like what these kids are capable of doing.
And that's a really important point that you made, Vinny, is I just wish I could convey to this year's team and to the teams in the years that will follow. This is probably this group of kids right now. First of all, Tracy High is where you want to be if you want to do well in sports in this town. And that's not a knock on West High School or Kimball High School, because I've met the football coaches that they have at West and Kimball.
It takes a while to build these programs.
It takes a while to build the recognition, the tradition, and they've got the foundation at those schools to build something and be very, very successful at it.
Yeah, it's looking at the youth, right?
Tracy High right now, and it wasn't always this way.
No.
When we were in high school,
It was West High.
High.
Couldn't even hang with them. Like, they were great. Baseball, basketball, football.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think in the 4 years I was at Tracy, I think we might have beat West once.
We beat, Vinny and I are a year apart, so we beat West.
Yeah, you can go back
as
on,
a sophomore.
you can go back on that trophy and you can see when they had it, right? But it's been a while, right?
It took a while, yeah.
Even then beating Kimball this year, it was like we lost to Kimball the year before that. So it's like you got to get the bragging rights back. Like, the boys had a clean sweep of the town this year, beating Mountain House, beating Kimball, beating West, right? It's like dominate your town, right? We've always talked about that.
Right.
And then it's be a playoff team and be competitive in the playoffs.
Exactly.
We know winning a league title is going to happen eventually, right? It takes a lot to take down the king of the court, right? In St. Mary's, right? When you're a public school going up against a private school powerhouse with D1 commits with 4.3 speed, right? But sometimes your kids need to see that.
Right.
Right?
Well, and that's what I want this team to understand is this. I don't think this team really realizes how good they are.
Yep. And we've had our backs against the wall all year. We've been counted out from day one. Like, we're not good. They're not going to be good. They can't beat anybody in their league. And it's, we still have to figure out Edison. They're the one.
Edison's always a wild card.
Edison's always been a thorn in the side. Right. But it's like, you take down Lodi, you beat a D1 opponent in Lincoln, right? You clean sweep your town. You play very competitive against teams like Turlock. Like, we traveled all the way to Pleasant Valley.
In Chico.
In Chico. Like, they're literally like state champion caliber football.
Right.
And I think tougher preseason is how it should be, right? If you have a cakewalk of a preseason, you're probably going to get walked all over in the regular season.
Exactly.
So it's like, that's why we do these things. That's why we start training the boys so early come January, February. It's like, we talked about this earlier. It's like, practice starts in 2 weeks, so we might as well start conditioning now. It's like, no, that's why wrestling started weeks ago.
Right.
Right? Because the first wrestling matches, I think, are this weekend, or it's going to happen very soon for them. So it's like, those first kids need to be in shape. I remember weeks ago, they were out running the track, running their bleachers, doing their miracle miles. They don't realize, like, you got to be in shape. Like, you cannot play sports and be in bad shape, right? I mean, even for you, you were always really fit, and it always took care of yourself when you were younger, because it's always like, you kind of have to, right?
Oh, yeah.
You never know when you're going to get your number called. Like, hey, Greg, I need you to go out there.
Yeah. And especially if you are dealing with a disability or any type of special needs, physical fitness is paramount to you being able to just function.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, I remember going to Shriners Hospital for Children originally in San Francisco, and they moved to the big, beautiful place in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But for my entire life, I have been told that at some point I will be in a wheelchair if I don't work out every day, if I don't walk every day, if I don't stretch every day.
You let the issue or the disease or whatever you want to call it take over.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I've seen firsthand what things like Alzheimer's do.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Parkinson's. My all-time favorite coach from high school was the late Kenny Perez. He was my JV baseball coach, and such a crazy, tragic story, with him being such a big Yankee fan, was such a huge Lou Gehrig fan, and ultimately dies from that disease.
From Lou Gehrig's disease.
And he was such a great coach, and had so much history to him, playing in like Cal Mex baseball leagues. He was a Fresno guy. I got to coach his young son, Kyle, and I still see Kyle now when we go out on Friday nights, still rocks his Yankee hat. It's like, there's some coaches you just never forget, right?
Exactly.
Like, even at Tracy High, like, everybody knows Fishburne, right?
Yep,
there's
Coach Fish.
There's just certain people that it's like, even now that he's back teaching and he's on campus, right? Like, Coach Hall just retired, a couple months ago, and he's still out at practice with us. Last night, I think that's the cool thing about playoff football is having all the coaches out at practice with us. Like, the JV coaches are there, Nellie's there. It's more bodies, it's more personnel, and I think it gives our kids more, especially now that we brought up all these kids to varsity for the playoff run. It only makes sense to have their coaches who were that just coached them to a 10-0 season,
undefeated regular season.
Is huge. We play in such a hard league, and for our JV kids to have a perfect 10-0 season taking down schools like Turlock, Pleasant Valley, Liberty, and even beating St. Mary's, right? Like on their home turf.
Didn't just beat them.
They beat them. They took it to
pounded them.
right? And I think you touched that perfectly earlier. Like these younger kids, like they don't realize how good of athletes they are. Like we have some of the best. They're not just good football players. They are track athletes. They're basketball players. They're baseball players in February, 7-on-7 stars. And for me, it's now I can take these kids and show them how much the weight room can do for them.
Can matter.
How much a couple good sprint sessions a week will do for them, to teaching them how to write an email and send an email to a college recruiter, right? It's giving them any opportunity, you know, how do I get to college or how do I get recruited, you know, where it's like it's how do I just get by with my life today, right?
Yeah.
And thinking like, what if I do get to that day where I got to be in a wheelchair? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be in a wheelchair. You know, I see kids come to school in a wheelchair because they got a bruise on their kneecap, right? Because they think the world's over. I'm like, you literally have something controlling how your body functions, right? And you have to work out. You have to do those things. So from like a workout perspective, right? What are things that you do now to keep yourself at bay? Like what's a typical day or week for Greg?
Well, I will say this, fear is a great motivator. The fear of potentially having to be confined to a wheelchair is a great motivator. And so when I get up in the morning, I usually take a shower, get dressed, may or may not, I know you might tell me something or disagree with me here, but may or may not eat breakfast.
Right.
But
you got to eat it eventually.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. But I'll take my dog a 4 or 5 mile walk every day around my property in the country, and then stretching.
Yep.
It's huge, and it doesn't even have to be. I don't have all the great equipment that you have here at the gym, but just the fact of sitting down, stretching, doing what I can do, trying to keep it to a half hour minimum. Sometimes if I'm really feeling it, push it to an hour.
Yeah.
But just doing something.
Yeah. I mean, your 4 to 5 miles that you walk, that's more than it is more than what most people probably do in a week or even in a month, right? Like people don't realize like the power of steps.
Yeah.
Right? You get 10,000 steps, that's 500 calories you just burned right there, right? So it's like, it makes sense. I can be active and I can enjoy myself, right?
Yeah.
Like for you, stretching is huge, right? It's also, you have limitations within your range of motion, right? There's certain things you can't do, right, that I can do, right? But you have created consistent habits.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have some people say, I don't want to fall into a routine. Like, but a routine needs to be there. It's like that's how I have learned to distinguish really high level athletes to ones that haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Look at the kid who has the routine out there.
Right.
Right? Are you the one who's sitting on the sideline on a cell phone before practice or game time, or are you out there actively stretching? I've got 15 minutes before practice starts. I'm that guy.
Right.
Right? I don't want the kid who's sitting on his ass like doing nothing, right? You're a guy who can't afford to do nothing.
Right.
You do nothing, your life probably it's your lifespan's gonna go where we want it. We should, that's working out is literally, it's the fountain of youth, right? Like I'm gonna turn 40 very soon, right? I still train like I coach all of these kids, right? Everything that I make them do, I've done it.
Yeah.
Because I have to make sure it works. I want to know what it feels like when I have to do a 40-yard sprint, right? I want to know that, okay, the rest time is this. This is how I felt after this. I can now relay that to these kids instead of like, oh, he's just making this shit up. Like, none of this helps. It's like, well, have you ever watched like professional sports or even collegiate sports? I don't think a lot of kids watch sports today.
Yeah.
They just like the thought of playing a sport and all the flash and the drip that comes with it. Like when we were younger, you had to earn the drip and the flash, right? You didn't just wear a cowboy collar.
Or it didn't come at all.
Yeah. If you were wearing a cowboy collar, you were probably the most sick, twisted dude on the football field that everybody was running away from. Like now it's you have a cowboy collar so you look good for pictures on the sideline, right? It's like we didn't have photographers taking photos of us.
No.
You know, when we were kids, you were lucky if you got the Tracy Press the next morning delivered to your house. You open up the sports page and maybe your picture made it. Maybe they mentioned your name somewhere. Most likely they didn't.
Right.
And you just went on about your day and you were ready for practice to start. No, I love that you've got your routines and everything, you know, now that you're getting older, right? Is there things that you're having to do differently now than when you were younger, or things that you want to start doing? I mean, I know the year's ending, you got a new year upon us. What's 2026 looking like for Greg Yerian?
Aging is real.
Sure is.
You know, I used to listen to, take your pick, parents, teachers, coaches saying, you know, high school's going to go by in a flash. And
Sure does.
I didn't believe it then. I believe it now. When they talk about taking care of yourself, you know, having to, I'm not 18 anymore. I'm not even 25 anymore. I can't do the things today that I used to be able to do at 25. And that decline is subtle, but steady. And if you don't work out, if you don't stretch, if you don't create fail-proof systems in your life, then the decline will happen faster than you want it to.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that even applies to business, right? Like, I always have been a firm believer that I know what I need to know, right? I can produce results. I know how to write up really good programs that help people. But when you're running a business and you start to see those other things, right? Like, we're not making a profit. We're struggling. We're doing this. You do need some help.
Yeah.
You know, and you need to have those systems in place, right? So the business can thrive, right? Like, I can go to football practice and know that the gym is still functioning, and our strength coaches are doing an amazing job coaching and training and selling memberships, and you know, they're just as passionate about it as I am. Because if they're not, right, then this doesn't work. Just like a team doesn't work, right? If they didn't accept you then, right, it would have been such a bad experience in high school. It's like, oh, we got to be friends with the special kid, right? Like, he's got cooties, right? Like, it's those days. Like, you just get your cootie shot, right? And you'll realize that you probably want Greg's cooties, right? Like, it's, you know, I think now we're starting to see there are a lot more kids with things going on, right? It could be the lowest level, right? It could be just a slight learning disability, right? That they might grow out of, right? Or it could be CP now that might blow up later. You know, I've seen Alzheimer's, dementia, right? I've seen what it's done to my grandfather. I've seen what cancer has done. You know, I've had to bury a lot of family members, you know, and I look at things where it's like, I know I can't prevent cancer, I can't prevent injuries, but I think it's a duty for me to kind of live by this code, right? Like I always tell people, like I really secretly hate working out. Like I have
I do too.
Deep hatred for it. But
I do too.
You have to have that. It's a love-hate thing. It's like being a New York Giants fan. It's a lot of hate with that. You know, I'm a Yankee fan. Haven't done anything since 2009, right? But I'm not going to jump ship and start liking another team, right? I was like, I'll like the team that's winning.
We'll welcome you to the San Francisco Giants anytime you want.
Yeah, you know, it's like, hey, you got a really good coach now. Like, you know, it's the scope of things are changing, right?
Yeah.
I think no matter what, I think the biggest message is you need to be active.
Yeah.
Right? None of this defines you. Cerebral palsy doesn't define you. It's just something that you got.
Yeah.
Right? It could be someone that like has excessive acne or something like that, right? It's like, you're going to have to do some things, probably change your diet, maybe take a pill, right? It's not, unless you've got like a terminal diagnosis, right? Like one of my favorite strength coaches just passed away 2 weeks ago, Kurt Hester. He was the strength coach for University of Houston football. I mean, they're having a miraculous year right now. He started at Tulane. He's been all over the place, and he had a cancer diagnosis. They literally gave him like 3 months or less. And I mean, he literally, weeks before he passed away, the Sports Center did a really good bit on him. And he was like, I've taken cancer to 3 overtimes, right? And I'll still beat it, right? And he knew when he was gonna die. He gave a speech to the players like one last time. And he ended up getting like a really bad like blood infection and passed away. And it was like a week or two ago, they had a blackout because his favorite color was black. And his motto of this whole cancer thing was unbreakable. It was like, you cannot break me. He's like, I'm the most psychotic human being on the planet. Like, cancer's just another thing. Like, you'll take me when I'm ready. Right. And it's like looking at things like that. And I mean, he went from being like a 225 pound monster to where like, he lost like over 60 pounds. He looked like your typical guy going through cancer, but still showing up for his players. Like the players saw that through him, right?
Yeah.
Like this guy's gonna die. Like could be any day.
Right.
We're not gonna die, right? We get to play football, right? And it's like, I look at you, it's like, you've got this thing. You could have either let it define you, or I think your parents were the biggest thing, right? They didn't let it define you. It was like, let him play sports.
Yeah.
If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. It's like when you take your training wheels off, you're gonna fall off the bike. You're gonna scrape your fucking knees on the ground. You're gonna get bloody, right? My mom would have just said, hey, go get 2 Band-Aids and you'll be fine, right? Like, you know, rub some dirt on it.
Yeah.
You know, you tell a kid to rub some dirt on it today, they're going to go tell their mom and dad that you told them to put dirt on their boo-boo, right? It's like, you know, as much as I don't want to say kids are soft today, but it's because they have soft parents.
That's probably what they said about us too back in the day.
I mean, hell, we did not have soft parents.
No, we did not.
You and I were playing outside, right? Like we were digging holes. I mean, you are from the country, right? You've been able to be around quads, dirt bikes, just farming and agriculture.
Hunting and fishing.
Fishing, right? It's like some of my best memories are drinking beers in someone's sump in an orchard somewhere out in the country, right? Like kids would never, you hung out what and where? What is a sump? It's a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
That's where we would hang out in.
Yeah, we took our trucks.
Yeah, it's like hanging out in parking lots, you know, just listening to music until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Now it's like, I want to be in bed by 9. Right, so I can be up by 5 and do my shit, right? And it's all about having a routine. And you've always had one. And I mean, how old are you now?
I just turned 39 in September.
39. I'm 39, but I got you beat. I'm going to be 40 before you get to be. Like my dad says, oh, you're halfway to 80 now. And I'm like, well, that's pretty good because average life expectancy is like 76 years old. I'm like, you're middle-aged in your 30s now, right? To think like, they probably counted you out a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like, this guy can't play football. He can't play baseball. It's like, oh, Greg's going in. Yeah. I'm like, watch what Greg does. Like, he'll go out there and he's going to come off with a smile on his face, right? I think too many people let these things define themselves.
Yeah. And, Vinny, obviously you were there when Coach Pribble invited me to talk to the team last year. And that's the one thing that I tried to convey to those kids last year, even though they went 2-8, as we talked about earlier, was when I got done playing high school football, when I got done wrestling, I didn't play a lot. Yeah, I would have liked to throw more touchdown passes or make more tackles or get more pins or possibly win a California State wrestling title. But I had poured so much, I had poured my entire self into doing those things that you will never talk to another person to have come through Tracy High School that is more satisfied with my overall body of work, if you can even call it that, because it was more fun than anything.
Yeah, you can't look at it like, could I have done more? It's like you got through all of that with a giant, like,
monkey on my back.
Yeah, cards stacked up against you.
Exactly.
Like every card has been put up against this kid.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, I had nothing left to give because the tank was empty.
Yeah.
And so, I look back on my memories with our teammates, with you, with our coaches. Our coaches, I cannot be on here and not talk about the different coaches that I had that were so instrumental in helping me succeed.
100%.
Dave Brown was my freshman head coach.
Yep, we were there through the Stroop days, right?
Yeah, Coach Jeremy Silcox. Rob Wichman was the line coach. I know I'm going to forget people.
Hall was still there. He's always been there.
Hall is a staple, a Tracy High staple.
I'm sure.
And if you ask him,
Coach Smith was still somewhere around those days too.
Yeah,
when you were around.
Smitty.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you ask Coach Hall, he'd say that I jumped off sides, but I swear to this day I didn't.
You can never look back and say you didn't try.
Right.
Right. And I think you made everybody else better too. It's like, Greg's here. Greg has more energy and it's like, if Greg has more energy than us, we've already lost.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I have more energy than the players come game time, it's going to be one of those rough first quarters.
Yeah.
Right? Like when they have that, I tell them, I was like, when you guys show up to game time and you just have that psychotic killer look in your face, right? You're just ready to go to work. Like it's no longer the happy-go-lucky boys that we had for 4 days at practice. Now they're stone cold killers ready to go to work, right? It's like a switch has to be flipped, right? You have that same switch. I have that same switch. How we flip might look different, right? But we're still able to go to that other place where it's like, hey, I've got this thing wrong with me, right? It's more like I'm yelling at my brain like, hey, leg, work so I can sprint. I need to get moving, like work, damn it. And I just think it's what's made you, right? You're still heavily involved with all of it, right? Even for me, it's like sports ended a very long time ago, but being a strength coach, I've never had to leave sports ever, and I'm able to coach from a completely different side. I don't coach the sport.
Right.
I coach everything that isn't the sport.
Yeah.
I'm coaching the strength, the speed, but it all connects back to the sport.
The sport.
Right? And for me, I just want what's best for them. Give them tools, right? And for me, it's what I coach and teach. It lasts well beyond the sport. Sports are going to end. It ended for you, but the working out, the training, going to games on Friday nights, going to games on Saturdays. Maybe you go to games on Sundays. That's just a lot of money between 3 different sports.
Yeah.
But you never have to leave it. And you get to see it from a different perspective. You might meet other kids that have cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
You get to, hey man, let me share 5 minutes of wisdom with you, right? Or like the kids you'll meet, like, oh, I've got what he has. Or I know somebody that has what he has. Or maybe it's a kid with MS, right? Or maybe it's a kid with some sort of autoimmune disease. Or you meet kids that go through cancer and beat it, right? You know,
we all have amazing stories to tell.
Everybody does, you know. I think you just got to sit down and listen to those stories, right? You don't necessarily have to write a book. Right. Like, I think getting on to a platform like this and just getting onto a microphone, people are going to listen, people are going to share it, you know, connecting with other people, you know, whether another adult or a kid or a teenager listens to this and it's like, hey, I've got what Greg has, and he made it through high school sports, and his mom and dad didn't ruin his life.
Right.
You know, it's like, hey, mom and dad, listen to this guy. He played sports. You're wrong. He's right. With that being said, like, what's some solid advice or anything you want to give to a kid that used to be little Greg Yerian? What can you say to that kid right now that might put them on a path of righteousness?
I think that along with the support of my parents and my coaches, definitely, as we mentioned earlier, just having faith in yourself and your abilities. You are good enough the way that you are. And, you know, allowing other people to see that and to be a light in this world that needs needs a lot of help right now. To have something that you fall back on and that you believe in. You know, I wanted to be, and Vinny, you know this story better than most, but I wanted to be a Tracy High Bulldog since I was 7, 8 years old in the stands at the stadium.
Yeah,
and
watching all those other family members.
Yeah.
Right? Most kids want to be a professional athlete. All you ever wanted to be was just a high school athlete.
Right.
And not even a high school athlete. You just wanted to be a bulldog.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, we do have a saying, right? It's once a bulldog,
always a bulldog.
I know other schools in town like to try to steal that and make it their own, but we were here first.
They can try.
Yeah, sorry, Kimball. Sorry, Wes. Make up your own mannerisms, you know. But I think that's a great message. It's, you know, it's nothing defines you, right? And if you do go down that route, it's probably, you're going to have to dig yourself out of the hole in the dark more than you'd like, right? And, you know, I think how you said, you know, it's having faith, right? And having hope, right? And that's not meaning you have to go to church and you have to pray and do all of that.
It helps.
It does. It helps, you know, and we're not discouraging any of that, you know, but it's having those strong belief systems and not blaming God, right? Or anybody for the card you were dealt. It was like, no, it's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's walk up one hill and go to the next, right? You're not going to walk up the hill and there's going to be no more hills to walk up. There's going to be hills, there's going to be valleys,
there's going to be mountains
and storms and setbacks and all the other shit that life will throw at you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you get punched in the mouth and you get back up, right? Or you get punched in the mouth and you run away with your tail in between your legs.
Or you lay down and bleed.
Yeah, it's like bleed, get up, it's life, you know, it's not going to end. If you didn't have that strong will, right, you probably would have given up a long time ago. You'd already be in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, I think you look at it too, it's like you still want to be independent as much as you can. Right?
Yeah.
But you still have such an amazing support system behind you that's never going to go anywhere. But it's also like, it's setting you up too for how you get to live this next phase of your adult life.
Yeah.
Right? Like from getting from 40 to 80, right? And staying out of that wheelchair, right? Or any of it, right? You know that CP is going to play with your body a lot differently than it's going to play with mine, right? Not having it, right? But it's not to say that something happens to me, right? Down the road, right? I get struck by lightning walking outside, right? I could get chased by a lion, you know, that escaped from the zoo, right? But it's like, it's shit like that. Like I'm rarely ever going to probably have to face a lion in the street. But like metaphorically, right? Probably face that lion more than we'd like to, right? You've faced plenty of lions and bears and all this other stuff, and you're still kicking, you're still here. You're still very well involved, you know, and like you said, I can look back at the speech you gave last year and the hope, right, they gave everybody, right? Yeah. And I think that's just one thing within this world, no matter how shitty it is, who's running it, right? Yeah. Whether or not you agree with them, disagree or not, Republican, Democrat, it does not matter. I think at the end of the day, it should just be more of everybody love everybody, right? Like support one another, right? Who cares about this, that, color of your skin, race, color of your hair, all of it. I don't care as long as you're a good person. You know, if you're a piece of shit, people will know, right? And you are far from that, you know.
Thanks, Vinny.
You know, Greg would literally give you the sweatshirt off of his back. Just make sure you give it back because he loves his bulldog attire. You know, that's just the beauty of this. It's just the love for our town, the love for our school, you know, but we still have so much love and support for everybody else. Right? Because without all the other schools, this would just be a one school town. There'd be no opportunities, right? And I mean, all those other schools exist because not everybody lives in the same part of town, right? Every school offers different programs. And I mean, every school here in town has their perks, right? Tracy High is not perfect. This just happens to be where we went and where every other family member went and where the future family members will go, right? The town, when I moved to Tracy, there wasn't even 20,000 people here, right? Like we're close to 100 now, if not already there. But it will always be a small town, right? It'll always be the small town that you grew up in, right? Going from country house, driving into town, right? It's always gonna be that way. The support's always gonna be there. And I think long after you're gone, it's how will people remember me, right? Like, will people remember Greg, right? What will they say about you when you're gone? What will they say about me when I'm gone, right? It's like, did I leave a legacy or will people just forget? I don't think anybody will ever forget you, you know, and that's just who you are, you know, that's who we are, you know, we don't need all the hype and glam.
The important thing that the West High and Kimball High School coaches said when I was listening to them speak to us. All the football coaches came, as they do every year, to the Lions Club, and they were talking about us, talking to us, not about us, but talking to us and saying they acknowledge that Tracy used to be a one high school town. So we had our pick of the talent pool, and now the talent pool is very much spread out.
Yep.
And the thing that they both said was, it doesn't matter whether you go to Tracy High, West High, Kimball, Millennium, Mountain House. We want Tracy kids to have a reputation of being good people. If you are a good athlete, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
If you do anything, beyond high school sports, good for you. But ultimately, when you grow up in Tracy, you're well grounded and you're tough as nails. That's how you will know that kid over there, he's from Tracy.
Yep. It's the roots run very deep in this town. Even with our rivalries, nothing is fueled by hatred. We don't hate another school. We don't hate other coaches. It's opportunities. And yeah, one program might be better than the next, and it allows those programs to learn from other programs. Just in the last 2 years, implementing strength and conditioning into the program was huge.
Yeah.
Right? We've always had a weight room, but there's never been that structure. Right? And when you look at these schools that go to the playoffs all the time, that win championships, that produce, there's always that one little aspect, they have a strength coach. They're putting more emphasis into athlete nutrition and athlete recovery and what happens when a kid gets hurt, right? Or what happens if you have a Greg come out onto your team, right? Can we provide the same for this one kid, or is he just going to, Greg, just go fetch balls. Right?
Yeah.
Go be a water boy.
Yeah.
It's no, Greg doesn't want to be a water boy. Greg actually wants to be a part of the team, right? There's kids now that you probably, I know for a fact, you do more than some kids that we have out there now, right? But some kids just, I think they like the thought of playing football. They don't like playing football.
The work.
They don't want to get hit. They don't want to hit. They might lift. They don't want to sprint. Right? Hey, if you want to just stand there for 4 quarters, it's going to be a very long 4 years, right? Or you can be a loud, energetic, supportive teammate, right? If you're not okay with sitting the bench, high school sports probably aren't going to be for you, right? Because the best are always going to play. High school sports are not broken down by who's entitled to play, right? I've been playing X amount of years, so I deserve to play. Or I was good when I was a peewee, right?
Right.
The best are always going to play.
Usually you're gonna have about 25 to 30 kids on a team, depending on the sport and size of the team. But you're gonna usually have about 25 to 30 kids that play more than others.
Just like in professional sports, there's guys that never touch the field.
Exactly.
There's practice squad guys.
Practice squad guys.
But it's in sports, someone always gets hurt. You have multiple guys go down, and then, now you're a starter. You went from being a practice squad guy to you're now literally the guy you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Can you be that guy? Because if you're not, you're going to get replaced, fired, cut, right? And we will find your replacement.
Talk about Brock Purdy versus Mac Jones.
And what happens when Brock comes back? Is he just going to get his job back, or do you keep the guy who's won 6 games, right? Or do you go with the guy that you paid all that money to, right? It's just Jackson Dart got the concussion on Sunday. Russell comes in. Russell ain't Russell anymore. Where Giants fans would rather see Jameis Winston come in and play, right? It's you're gonna be when your number gets called, right? Can you be the guy that they need to depend on, right? And I think, you know, you're a guy that people can depend on, right? Even now, like getting you in for the podcast, right? It's like, I can depend on Greg to come in here and we can just have a great conversation that people are gonna wanna listen to. And if they don't, then screw them. They're just gonna miss out on a really good conversation. You know, I think it's been awesome being able to sit down and chat with you.
Well, again, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Yes. Do you want to leave with any closing statements, any words of wisdom for our viewers? Anything you want to leave them with today? Some closing remarks from Mr. Yerian?
If I would have known you were going to ask me this question, I would have prepared something. No, again, I'll go back to things I said earlier about we have such a talent pool here in Tracy and at Tracy High School right now. We're in the middle of, I think we're at the peak of the pendulum.
Yeah. Our last like pandemic kids are about to graduate, and you just got this youth swarm of just I call them psychopaths is what you need to be.
Affectionately.
Like, yes, like violent just weirdos that want to go out there and hit other human beings that love being hit. They love lifting. They just love all of it. Like they chase soreness, right? We have kids that, I'm sore, coach, I can't practice today. I'm like, then don't play football, right?
Football is the only organized form of violence that's allowed in our society.
Yeah, it's either that or go play rugby, but most of those kids don't want to play football, so rugby is definitely out of the question, and hockey is another thing all on its own. And it's like, once you have to get on a pair of skates, like that's just foreign to kids in California. Like unless you go to St. Mary's, right, and you're on their ice hockey team, you know, or things like lacrosse, right? There's so many different sports and opportunities. And that's the biggest takeaway from this episode is everything's an opportunity.
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, even something like cerebral palsy, look at it as an opportunity to change your life, right? And not have to live by what that is, right? It's just another fancy name, you know, for stuff that your body is gonna have to fight. And you either let it take over or you keep fighting it, right? And it's like you said, nothing defines you, right? It's, you're the one who writes your own story, right? You're the one who controls all that. You know, if you're gonna write your own story, probably write it with a pencil so you can erase and, you know, keep going back, or the story can always have things added into it, right? Going 0-5 last year to a winning program this year, I've always told the boys, like, you control everything. I don't play the sport for you. That's you on Friday nights. Yeah. But I will always be their biggest supporter, the biggest fan, the loudest one on the sidelines, because they need that, right? If they see how, I think when kids and athletes and players see how passionate coaches are,
oh, it's infectious.
It makes it seem like they're not just concerned about winning. Like, they want to lose too, because losing is an opportunity to go back and look at it, right? It's go watch your film, go study what you did wrong, ask your questions. Don't just pout, walk away.
Why me?
Right? Yeah, why me? You could have done that with cerebral palsy. Like, why me? Right? Could have given up, right? Which a lot of people do, but I don't think you have that weakness in you, right? You have a strong will, you know, the faith, right? You have the hope, and you have an amazing support system. You know, it's just like, I can't do any of this without my wife, right? Like she's it. she's everything. That's my rock, right? If she's not around, I might as well just go get a job at Walmart or some shit, or go work at Home Depot and just talk to people, or hide in the back and not talk to people ever again.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the cool thing of what we do. You know, we're in control of our lives 100%. Whether it's cerebral palsy, cancer, anything terrible, none of it defines you. Greg is a perfect example of that. He's living proof. And I'm just, you know, I'm honored to have him here as a guest. You know, you can definitely look forward to watching and listening to this episode in the coming week. Again, this is episode 9 of the Students of Strength podcast. This is my amazing guest and really, really good friend, Greg Yerian. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us on social media. You know where to find me. You can find Greg Friday nights in that snack bar at Tracy High games. He's a Lions Club guy. You can catch him heavily involved with Tracy High Wrestling and the Tracy Wrestling Club. And for all you parents out there, get your kids involved at early ages with these sports in this town. If you're on the fence about wrestling, just go to a wrestling practice. If you need some information, this guy right here can give it to you 100%. So again, I'm Coach Vinny. This is the Students of Strength podcast. This is my amazing guest, Greg Yerian, and we are signing off.